currents of the rivers and the reason the pilot of Flight 1549 chose the Hudson and not this river. The last man pilot to attempt a landing in a commercial airplane on water. The heavy currents just ripped the plane up and lost 125 to 175 people aboard. So the Hudson River would be a better choice because of the current, softer and going with the airplane. The other unusual feature on Flight 1549, if you ever fly from New York to Charlotte, your airplane does not need over-water gear. You're flying over land. But that airplane that took that ride had 2 days before going to Europe, and they had plenty of life rafts for everybody aboard. Pilot could care less when he comes in, or where, wants to make a safe landing. Hudson was chosen because of the currents. In the mid-1800s, the land on our left was country land. This part of it north of town was owned by a man who had made a lot of money in the California gold rush. Effingham Sutton called his estate Sutton Place. And we still do. It's a very expensive part of town. Big dark red building on the left's a good example, River House. They have their own ballroom, tennis court, swimming pool, squash court, just for the folks who live there. Henry Kissinger's among them. Little light red brick building off of the part of the ship left that has white trim bay window down the center. Jackie Kennedy got that building as a wedding gift from Aristotle Onassis and never spent one night in the building. It was the neighbors, as she said. Across the street, the beige fronted home, just up ahead on the other corner left. That was Marilyn Monroe's home, right across from one bought for Jackie Kennedy. She moved to 1045th Avenue by the Metropolitan Museum of Art. As we come to the 59th Street Bridge, on the far side of it will be New York City's urban aerial tramway. We're the only city in our country to have an aerial tramway subsidized by a city, so it's the same cost as a bus or a subway. And it goes up every 15 minutes, and the cable car station will be very visible to us after we clear the bridge here. Cable station in Manhattan is 2 blocks inland, so this one here on the right, the only one visible. The red bus will wait and take people around the island after the 12 tramways complete their ride over the top. New York City purchased this island on the right in the early 1800s and began to develop it as Welfare Island. They bought it from a family by the name of Blackwell. It was an old farm island north of town in the 1700s. Here's the old 1700s Blackwell's farmhouse. To our right, as you clear the next set of big buildings behind the flagpole, little cream-colored building. It'll be on a line with the red and white stack in a moment. That's the old farmhouse of the Blackwells, which is now a museum. And on top of the castle-like walls here on the left is the university called Rockefeller University, sponsored by the Rockefeller Foundation. Postgraduate degrees only, medical, technical sciences. There are 7 Nobel Prize winners on the staff. The mission of the university is the total eradication of disease. While we're waiting for that to happen, there's a big hospital next door. The big white building's coming up left, New York Hospital. The second oldest hospital in the country, started by the King of Great Britain, 1765. Now we're headed upstream to Gracie Mansion, the home of the mayors. The white flagpole in the sunlight, top of the river up ahead left is where Gracie is located. We'll see you before that, talk a little bit about real estate values before we get to Gracie Mansion. We're on the East River, headed north, Roosevelt Island on our right, Queens on the far side of that. Manhattan here on our left. We're approaching 72nd Street, Upper East Side, Manhattan. On the right's another one of the old buildings of Welfare Island, the church for the staff here in the 1800s. These days, real estate prices in our island of Manhattan are down about 12% from their high. Everything is cheaper. The average price to buy an apartment on Manhattan now is only about $1.3 million. The average price to rent an apartment on Manhattan has fallen to an average price, $3,889 a month rent, down 12%. To most of us, it doesn't make any difference at all. We can't afford that, much less the higher prices. The average family here in town last year made a little over $52,000 before tax or anything else. It's not enough money to rent or buy on Manhattan. Prices drop about 20% when you leave Manhattan. They keep dropping as you go further away. One problem in Manhattan that's quite unique in our country: more than half of the apartments of Manhattan are occupied by only one person. Forget about size. More than half of any apartments in Manhattan, one occupant only. That makes it a little difficult to find a place to live. Gives you an idea of the money here. The Central Park area is the only place that might work to build housing and bring the price down. Hopefully it remains a park. The 2.5 square miles is worth $539 billion on the open real estate market these days. Hopefully it remains a park. Now, here's another park here on our left, Carl Schurz Park. This was country land up here when a man by the name of Archibald Gracie built a home out in the country to get his family out of town. Gracie Mansion will be up ahead. Mr. Gracie would eventually go bankrupt, and New York would come this far northward. His home was taken